Alrighty, hello and welcome to today's information session with CACI International Incorporated. My name is Warner Petzold. I'm Employer Outreach Specialist at the University of Arizona Global Campus and 10-year U.S. Air Force veteran. We're excited you could join us today to learn about exciting careers with CACI. Before I turn the floor over, I want to go over a few housekeeping items. This webinar is being recorded. For all those who register for today's information session, the recording will be emailed to you in a few days. We will take the time to answer as many questions as possible during and at the end of the presentation. At the bottom of the screen is a Q&A button. You can submit questions with your name or anonymously to be answered live. We will do our best to get to as many questions as we can. However, if your question is not answered by the end of the presentation, you can email it to us at career services, that's all one word, together, at uagc.edu. We will follow up with CACI to get any remaining questions answered. Also, feel free to engage in the chat. You can pose questions in the chat, and members of the Career Services team and Maria will be available to help answer questions throughout the presentation. If you have any technical difficulties, we recommend logging out of Zoom and logging back in. Now, I would like to introduce our guest employer. Joining us today from CACI is Gary Patton, retired Major General, U.S. Army, and Vice President of Veterans and Military Affairs. Also joining us is Maria Morgan, veteran spouse and Program Coordinator, Veterans and Military Affairs. Gary and Maria, we are excited to hear your presentation and thank you for joining us today. I will go ahead and turn it over to you.
Thank you, Warner, and thank you, University of Arizona Global Campus. We're really excited to be here, and we really appreciate the opportunity to be talking to you and your students today. And today is 9/11, and it's an honor and a privilege to be coming to you and talking to you on this day, a day that many of us, most of us, all of us will never forget. And a day that really is a day where we can redouble our efforts, especially in my company. We're a government contractor, a national security company, and we use this day every year to redouble our efforts at being ever vigilant in support of our national security missions, our national security customers. And we're going to be talking to you today about our company, CACI. Again, we're a federal government contractor. We're going to be talking to you about our business, the type of work we do for our customers. We're going to be talking to you about the culture of our company, and we're going to be talking to you about job opportunities that we brought here, about 30 of them that we'll discuss towards the end of the briefing. We're going to have this divided in about two parts. The first part will cover the business and culture piece, then we'll take a break for questions, and then the second piece will cover career opportunities that we've selected and highlighted to bring to the presentation here today and discuss with you. I run our Veterans and Military Affairs program at CACI. My colleague Maria is on the call. She's our program coordinator. And together with two other people, we really serve the veteran and military job seeker population, assisting, informing military and veteran job seekers about career opportunities at CACI. We hire a lot of veterans. Last month, for example, the month of August, we hired 215 veterans or military, and that was about 50% of all the new hires in our company just in the month of August. And when I say military, it's an inclusive term. I'm including military spouses, National Guardsmen, reservists, of course, transitioning service members, and veterans. And they're all welcome at CACI. About 39% of our workforce are military and veterans. Now, that's not to say that those of you in the audience who are not in the military or veterans are excluded from this conversation. We have plenty of jobs, and we brought career opportunities that I think will interest all of you. Of course, there are some that may be more catered towards veterans and military because of clearance requirements, military training requirements, and that sort of thing. But we again, with 39% of our workforce being veterans, the balance of our company are non-veterans. But we all have a common interest and a common sense of purpose in serving our national security mission and customers. So with that, Maria, can you take us to the next slide, please? So a little thumbnail sketch of CACI. Up in the upper left-hand corner, our headquarters is in Western Virginia, but we're located all around the world. We have concentrations and business footprints wherever you really find large concentrations of the military around the world. We've been doing this for over 62 years. And we got 24,000 employees in over 140 offices around the world. And the one thing, like I said earlier, whether we're a veteran employee or a non-veteran, the one thing that unites us as a workforce is our sense of purpose, meeting our mission and enterprise customers' most critical needs in technology and expertise. We're a $7 billion company, and we deliver technology and expertise to national security customers. Our customers include all of the services within the Department of Defense. Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, and Space Force are our customers. We include all of the agencies within the intelligence community as our customers, as well as other federal government agencies like the Department of Homeland Security, Customs and Border Police, Transportation Security Administration, NASA. These are all our customers, and we are proud of the work that we do in support of their very important missions for our national security. And again, that's a unifying sense of purpose that I think really permeates our entire workforce of over 24,000 employees. Next slide, please. And the one way that we serve our veterans and military population is with this dedicated team. I'm on the left, Maria's on the right, and our other two team members are in the center. And we are dedicated to informing, assisting, and advocating for military and veteran job seekers with over 64 years of combined military service and 42 years with CACI. So we figure we have our finger on the pulse of both the military and veterans community as well as our corporation. Now, again, as I said earlier, that's not to exclude the people in the audience here who are non-veterans. The fact that we're here with you in this presentation, we would like to be your champion at CACI, whether you're a veteran or not. Please reach out to me and or Maria following this presentation if you have interest in a career opportunity at CACI. We will be your champion because we met here at the University of Arizona Global Campus presentation, and we'll provide you the same support, services, and assistance that we do our military and veteran job seekers. Next slide, please. So what do we do at CACI? We're a national security company, as I mentioned. We really specialize in these areas for our customers. I've highlighted the ones that I would consider our bread and butter, superpowers, if you will, things that we do very well in support of our customers. Cybersecurity, information technology, intelligence, project management, and software development. I have jobs, career opportunities, if you will, to discuss with you at the end of this presentation in all of these areas that are highlighted in yellow, as well as some other areas such as logistics and training development, and that's those sorts of things. The one thing I'd like to point out at the bottom center of this slide, because we're a national security company, we're a government contractor that supports a number of customers in the federal government and the national security business. Many of our positions require an active security clearance at the time of hire. Generally, secret clearance or above. Secret, top secret, special compartmented information, and so forth. That's at the insistence and the direction of our customers. Our customers define the requirements for the jobs that we advertise for in labor categories. And as a federal government contractor, we're bound to comply with those labor categories, which include security clearance requirements in probably about 80% of the jobs that we have in the company, based on the work environment our employees work in. The materials they're exposed to and that sort of thing require the security clearance. That leaves about 20% of our jobs that do not require a clearance. At the end of this briefing, again, we're going to cover a bunch of jobs, and a number of them do not require a security clearance. So if you don't have one, please stick around. We have jobs for everybody. But I just wanted to point that out at the beginning. The majority of our work does require security clearance at the time of hire. Next slide, please. So I'm going to take you through several cultural slides. The first one being how we are consistently strong in hiring veterans and military employees. Those pictures on the left, snapshots in and out of uniform, are pictures of our veteran employees. And you can see the numbers on the right. 39% of our company are full-time employees, are veterans, disabled veterans, and other members of the military community. 10% of our employees are disabled veterans. And look at the hiring numbers at the bottom. Over 40% of all new hires for the past 5 years have been veterans, military spouses, Guard and reservists. And that trend has continued into fiscal year 25. Our fiscal year runs from July 1st to June 30th. So we're right now approaching the end of the first quarter of our fiscal year 25, and 50% of all the new hires in this new fiscal year have been military or veterans. So we've got quite a track record and a trend there in that regard. I think I saw a question there. I'm just going to pause for a second. I saw a question about security clearance. I want to address that here before we get too further into the much further into the presentation. I think one of the questions is, can you CHA help us get a security clearance? And the answer to that is sometimes, but it really depends on the customer. Again, we're a government contractor, so we're dependent on the customer to define the requirements for every job. Some customers, not all, some customers offer to sponsor individuals for clearances or clearance upgrades. For example, some customers will say, we'd like to take the person in at the secret level and sponsor them for an upgrade to the top secret level. Other customers may say, we'll take people who are U.S. citizens with no clearance and we'll sponsor them for their initial clearance, maybe at the secret level. And then other customers will say, well, we'll bring them in at a very basic level of clearance, perhaps at the National Agency Check level, NACI level. It's a very basic low level, or public interest level of clearance. Again, a very low level clearance, and then allow and sponsor the individual for higher clearances. So there is a way to get your foot in the door without a clearance, and it's with those sponsorship opportunities. And every one of those type of sponsorship clearance opportunities I just mentioned are included and written and described in the job description for that particular job. If it says the clearance is required at the time of hire, then that's the clearance that's required at the outset. If the job description says that clearance sponsorship is available at certain levels, then that's the case in those. And the majority of the jobs require the clearance at the time of hire, but there are some that have exceptions there for those clearances that are able to be sponsored. We can get into more details there, but hopefully that'll take care of most of the questions on clearances, on security clearances. Thank you. Next slide, Maria, please. Continuing with our CHA culture, whether you're a veteran or not, this is something I know you can all relate to. We're a company that prides itself on our shared values with the U.S. Armed Forces. I've listed here on this slide the values of the value statements of the various armed forces and the departments, the Army, the Navy, Air Force, and Coast Guard. And I've highlighted a word in red in each one of those value statements: honor, commitment, integrity, and respect. Those four values taken together form the CHI value statement. So you can say that we literally share the values of the U.S. Armed Forces, taken directly from their individual service value statements. And these values are not just words or emblems on a screen, but rather words that we live by. And that's something that attracted me to CHI when I joined the company 8 years ago, and it's kept me there as an employee for all those years. I spent 35 years in the Army, and proud of my service, and I'm also proud of the time I've spent, the 8+ years I've spent with CHI, because of its commitment to these values of honesty, commitment, integrity, and respect in our workplace. Next slide, please. We're a culture where we love to volunteer to serve in our military and veteran communities. We have affinity groups in the company that represent different groups, different interests. One of the thriving affinity groups is the Veterans Employee Resource Group. Maria and I are proud members of that group, and we do things to support the local military and veteran communities, like the picture on the far right. That is the Vietnam War Veterans Memorial in Washington, D.C. Once a year, sometimes twice a year, we go out there on a 0 dark 30 on a Saturday morning, and we wash the wall in conjunction with the National Park Service. We usually do that around Armed Forces Day weekend so that the wall is clean and presentable and ready for thousands of visitors to visit that sacred ground, that memorial there as part of the National Mall. You can see moving to the left, we're also involved in various food banks. That food bank in the bottom left is in the Denver, Colorado region, where we volunteer and serve a veterans focused food bank. Upper left shows one of our employees in the yellow shirt supporting a Vietnam veteran on the honor flight opportunity, which is where veterans consolidate at various regional airports and then take honor flights as part of that veteran service organization to Washington, D.C. to visit the various war memorials. And our employee in the yellow shirt served as an escort, as a guardian for that veteran for that day's trip to Washington, D.C. and back. And then next to that, right to the right of that picture, is a CACI employee helping out at a near a military base in Northern Virginia, where we handed out bicycles in September to young military children, children in military families. For some of them, it was the first bike they ever had, like that youngster there on the left, and his sister there on the right. And we're proud to participate in things of this nature in support of our local military and veteran communities. This is just a sample of the type of things we do. Next slide, please. Continuing with our CACI culture, we love to remember our deployed employees. They are not forgotten, and we have lots of them serving overseas in combat zones. Every year around Veterans Day, we conduct Operation Care Package. We just completed Operation Care Package number 7 last November, and we are already preparing for this one that'll occur in November here in 2 months. And in that project, that operation, we package various gift items, greeting cards, and so forth, and we ship them off to all of our employees who are serving in combat zones and hardship areas. Last year, again, 319 employees received these gift packages, working in 21 different countries. That's our volunteer team on the bottom right, and those are some of the gift items that we sent this past year. Again, ensuring that our employees working away from the flagpole, serving overseas, separated from their family in the holidays, are not forgotten. Part of our culture and annual tradition. Next slide, please. Another tradition is that we comes around November and December when we remember our fallen comrades. Bottom right picture, every November, we lay a wreath at the tomb of the unknown soldier. That's what's going on there. We're saluting the wreath at the tomb that the 4-person team, CACI employees, laid at the foot of the tomb, along with the 3rd Infantry Regiment Old Guard detail that's there as well. Again, an annual tradition, wreath laying at the tomb of the unknown soldier on Veterans Day weekend. Bottom left, another annual tradition, supporting Reach Across America every December. Last year, we had dozens of CACI employees at 9 different national cemeteries around the country supporting Reach Across America. This particular picture takes place at the National Cemetery in the Greater Hampton Roads area of Southern Virginia. A great tradition, again, part of our CACI culture. Hey, that picture on the bottom left, I think there's only 1 or 2 veterans in there. The rest of them are family members and patriots. And again, these are type of activities as part of our culture that appeal to all of our employees, regardless of their military or veteran background. Next slide, please. I think this is the last culture slide. We could give, I know some of you in the audience are members of the National Guard and Reserves. We are a strong employer in support of the National Guard and Reserves. The ESGR organization is a tremendous partner of ours. We've won a number of awards and recognitions over the years. You can see them listed there with the ESGR. Most maybe telling part of these awards is that most of these awards are nominated by the actual employee, and they're nominating their supervisors for the award, which speaks volumes about the managers that supervise our Guard and Reserve employees, with 13 Patriot Awards, among others, awarded and earned since 2012. Two of them last year. Um, and another way we recognize our Guard and Reservists is every year around Armed Forces Day, we like to recognize those who are still serving. And so you can see pictured there is one of our fellows, but wearing a camouflage lanyard, distinctive CACI lanyard that was only given to serving National Guard and Reserve employees. Our workforce wanted to know, how can we distinguish our Guard and Reservists from among the other employees? We'd like to distinguish them. We'd like to recognize them. We'd like to be able to thank them for their service. And so we gave them all these distinctive camouflage lanyards, so now they can be, recognized appropriately and singled out from other the workforce and that sort of thing. Something that we do on a regular basis around Armed Forces Day every May. And with that, can you take us to the next slide? I think we're going to wrap this section up by talking about some benefits. We have a number of benefits on top of your salary and annual raise structure that we have in our pay system. We also have benefits that I'd like to just briefly address here in a number of different areas. In the health and welfare area, a range of medical insurance and coverages, as well as financial wellness advisory services. In the professional development realm, we have a CACI virtual university where employees can gain technical certification. They can take professional management courses, and then we reimburse our employees for the costs associated with those certifications. We have a robust leader development program at 3 different levels. Depending on where you're at in the company, you could enter the lead people program, the lead leaders program, or the lead enterprise program, depending on your job level and your level of responsibilities and oversight and that sort of thing. Tuition reimbursement for those continuing advanced degrees, college education sort of thing, including tuition discounts and reimbursement up to $12,000, as long as the degree being pursued is in some way related to your work and job title and work function, that sort of thing. Peace of mind, yes, we have various insurance policies. Time for yourself. We just recently implemented over the past year flexible time off option as opposed to paid time off. Flexible time off has no ceiling, has no floor. You take time off when you need to, and you take time off when the job is done and when your manager approves it. You don't accrue it over time. We found that people who were accruing their paid time off were saving it and using it as a second source of income, and not using their time off as intended to take time off and recharge and rest and recover and that sort of thing. So we put this new plan in place. It's wildly popular. Over 50% of our new hires over the past year said that one of the reasons they came to CACI was the differentiation of flexible time off as a benefit for employees in the company. So it's working out pretty well. Paid parental leave for mothers and fathers. Happy to say that Maria, who's with us here in the briefing, recently, I guess 6 months ago, had a baby and took her parental leave time off and came back and good to go here following that time off, taking time for yourself. The last part of the slide here is the savings plan. We have an excellent 401k plan that I personally invest in, as well as many employees do, in terms of saving for yourself and taking care of things that way with that benefit. So with that, sort of a natural break in the presentation here, I'd like to take a break and see if we have any questions. Thank you for the comments and in the chat box and things, but I'd like to see if we have any questions on anything I've covered up to this point. Werner or Maria, as you've seen comments coming in, anything that that we want to take time now to address at this
Yeah,
point before
Gary,
we get into the career opportunities? Go ahead, please.
Gary, there is a Q&A. For the 401k plan, does CACI offer a matching percentage? And if so, what is the vesting schedule?
Yeah, I'm not an expert on this, but I am an investor in this, and so I'm going to say that it's a 50% match, and that occurs at with every pay period. And I'll check my pay stub to confirm that. But I keep pretty close track of that. I think that I'm pretty comfortable with that. And of course, there's limits. Law governs the upper limits and how much you can invest and all that sort of jazz as a percentage of your overall pay and all that. But 50% every pay period. Anything else? I think we addressed the security clearance question.
Absolutely. And then one other thing, Gary, I would like to share, which I'm very proud of having CACI here today, especially being ex-military for 10 years. But also, I'm sure many of you, and I'm from Baltimore, by the way, born and raised, so I'm very familiar with the Washington Technology Top 100 government contractor list. And as of 2024, for all those in the audience, I do want to share that CACI is number 10 out of 100 on that list. That is impressive. And I just wanted to share that. So they
Yeah.
know.
No, thanks, Warner. We're $7 billion company, and that's grown quite a bit since just in 8 years I've been an employee there. But to me, the things that attract me and have kept me at CACI, and I'll stay there until I retire from work and someday down the road. But it's that sense of purpose I talked about in the beginning, a sense of purpose in sort of a unifying effort to accomplish the mission in an important national security with our national security customers. So a sense of purpose, a sense of belonging. That's part of the culture. Whether you're a veteran or not, there are plenty of affinity groups to really gain that sense of belonging and participate in a variety of activities like the ones I showed here today, and also communities of practice. We have over 20 different communities of practice for linguists, cybersecurity analysts. I mean, name a job category, and we have a community of practice where people come together and share best practices and lessons learned and stuff within their particular job field. And then the third area I would say is just a sense of security. And that's manifested by the employee benefits and programs that you see here on this chart. One thing is I don't have here in terms of a sense of security. People ask me a lot of, well, you're a government contractor and contracts only last 3 years, and then what happens? Well, you're out of a job, so it's not so secure. Well, the fact is that we win our contract recompetes at about a 90% clip. So job one is win your recompete to preserve your job security, and we have an excellent track record there. But you don't win them all. So what do we do when you lose a contract? Well, we have a redeployment program. The redeployment program takes people who have been on contract and perhaps that contract ended for some reason. Well, those people then go on a redeployment program and become visible to all the hiring managers in the company, and all the people in the redeployment program have visibility of all the jobs that we have offered in their particular job fields and areas. And so we really encourage, and really our first preference to all hirings is internally. And our managers give the highest priority to hiring folks who are coming off of contract as part of this redeployment program. So it's not 100%, it's not foolproof, but we have some programs in place that really, I think, provide that extra level and effort in terms of security, in terms of job security, on top of the benefits and things that we've talked about here. Well, with that, let's talk about jobs. Maria, can you take us to the next slide, please? I'm sure everybody in the audience, all 51 of you, are there because you're continuing your education. You're going to get a degree at some level on the way to a job as a way to posture yourself for success and advance in your career getting a new job, and what have you. I know it's hard work at the University of Arizona Global Campus. Not only the schoolwork they give you, but also many of you probably already have a job, and so you're doing this at night. You're doing this in your free time. You're carving free time out of your busy day, and extending your day to accomplish your schoolwork. So my hat's off to you on that, and thank you for your effort there. As you look to invent and invest in your future, this is a screenshot from our CACI career site, careers.caci.com. I would encourage you to go there. You can search for career opportunities by the type of job. You can search by a job number. It's a 6-digit number. I'm going to show you some here in a minute. You can search by location. And then you can also filter your search by security clearance. You could put none as a security clearance, and a number of jobs are going to pop up. You could filter by location if you're looking in a certain area for work and that sort of thing. So it's a very user-friendly job search tool that allows you access to every job that we're currently offering. There's no other, I get asked a lot of times, well, Gary, what other jobs do you have? Are there jobs that you tailor just for me? And those kind of things. No, the answer is no. All the jobs we have are posted on our career site, and you can access them. And every job lists a salary range for that job. And every job will give a very detailed job description, which will cover the qualifications for that job, the must-haves, the nice-to-haves, and so forth. And so really the first step in your job search should be finding a suitable job for you. And what do I mean by suitable? Well, I mean one where you meet the job qualifications listed in the job description. It could be a clearance issue. It could be a certification issue. It could be a years of experience requirement. All those things are listed in every job description. So I would encourage you to, read all the fine print, check out all the qualifications listed in the job description to find those jobs that are most suitable for you. And you're the best judge of whether you're suitable or not. You're the best judge of assessing your qualifications, experience, and so forth. So that's the first step. Step number 2, I would say, is tailor your resume then to submit a resume when you apply to that job. After you found your suitable job, number 2, tailor your resume for that job. And what do we mean by tailoring your resume? Tailoring a resume means highlighting and including the qualifications that you meet that are necessary, that are required for the job you're applying to. Do not submit a generic resume that may omit some of those qualifications. I'll give you an example. I had an Army non-commissioned officer recently apply to a job as a SharePoint administrator. And as you went through the various qualifications for that particular job, that he was rejected for, by the way, as you go through the qualifications for that job, the number 1 qualification in the job description was in-depth knowledge and experience in SharePoint, the platform, the tool known as SharePoint. And then you go through 2 or 3 other job qualifications. But he was rejected for that job. And then when he reached out to me and said, I can't believe I was rejected for this job as a SharePoint administrator. I've done this, I've done that, I know this, I know that. And I looked at his resume, and even though it was the number 1 job qualification for that job, and in fact, the title for that job included the word SharePoint, the word SharePoint did not appear on his resume. And I said, well, you have all this experience. You applied in SharePoint. You applied to a job as a SharePoint administrator. Why didn't it appear on your resume? He said, well, everybody knows that if you do this kind of job, then you have exposure and experience with SharePoint. And I said, well, no, everybody doesn't know that. Our recruiters don't know that. I don't know that. I never heard of that. So please posture yourself for success. Tailor your resume by putting all the things on your resume for that job that apply to the qualifications listed for that job. And don't assume anything. Use the resume to qualify yourself for the job. Use your resume to qualify yourself for the job. That's step number 2. And then step number 3, very simply, exercise your champion your inside source at whatever company you're applying to. Maybe you have a friend. Maybe you have a new LinkedIn friend that you've made or reconnected with. But in the case of CACI, consider me and Maria and my other two members on my team as your champions, your inside source at CACI. And so if you apply to a job at CACI, we want to hear from you, because we will then help assess your suitability, give you some feedback, and most importantly, champion for you, advocate for you with the hiring team. We'll say, hey, we met Victor Hernandez here on the call today. He applied to a job. He looks highly suitable. Thank you for your consideration of this outstanding UAGC alumni, graduate, student, what have you, for consideration for this particular job. We will be your champions, but we have to hear from you. So the ball's in your court in terms of step one, finding a suitable job. Step two, tailoring your resume to apply to that suitable job. And three, exercising your inside source for success with that job, with that future job. So with that, let's talk about some career opportunities at CACI. We've broken it down in a couple of different categories. Next slide, please. We organize our recruiters in a bunch of different buckets. The buckets are based on skill sets. We have a whole recruiting team focused on recruiting for talent with job opportunities in IT and cybersecurity. We are hiring now for these jobs I've listed are just a small sampling of the type of jobs we have that we're hiring for now. What do I mean by hiring now? Hiring now means these jobs are all on contract. They're supporting a customer, and these particular jobs are open. They're not filled. We are actively seeking people to hire to fill these jobs, hiring now. As a government contractor, not all of our jobs we're hiring for now, though. Some of them are based on winning a future proposal, a future award, a future contract. We are not hiring now for those jobs. We won't be hiring now for those jobs until we win that contract. But for the jobs listed on this slide and all the other slides I have in this briefing, we are hiring now. These are funded positions on contract and open, unfilled, and we're seeking talent now. Now, maybe you're in school and you don't graduate for another year and you're not ready to take on another job, maybe for 6 to 12 months down the road. In that case, it's still worth looking at these jobs, because if they don't exist, they exist now, but they may not exist 6 to 12 months down the road. But we'll have jobs like them in our inventory of offerings. For example, let's look at a couple of these on this slide in the IT cybersecurity realm. First one at the top, Tier 1 help desk specialist, 6-digit job number 299043. There's no clearance required for this particular job, and it's based in National Harbor, Maryland. This is an ongoing contract with the Department of Homeland Security. We'll have this job for as long as that contract exists. We'll be looking for people like in this type of job field as a help desk specialist, because we provide enterprise IT support for that customer's IT backbone. We're always looking for help desk specialists, system administrators, network operators, cybersecurity analysts for these enduring type of contracts that we have, especially this one. And it may appeal to a lot of people in the audience because there's no clearance required for that job. Similarly, the second job there, system administrator role located in Norco, California, no clearance there. I'm not going to list every one of them, but you can go down through here, some cybersecurity roles, ISSO roles. And then at the bottom, I've chosen one job just to sort of highlight some of the qualifications for that particular job. Cyber Security Operations Analyst, 298651, requires a top secret special compartmented information level clearance. It's a high level clearance, and that's located in Springfield, Virginia. Here's the qualifications for that job. That job supports the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, transport and cybersecurity services. Again, we run the IT backbone for NGA, a big customer of ours. For this job, you have to have a bachelor's degree and 4 years of experience, and you have to have Information Assurance Level 2 certification, which generally means Security Plus, CYSA Plus. Those are the type of Level 2 IAT certification that meet those that requirement. So I haven't listed the qualifications for every one of these jobs, but just one here at the bottom to give you sort of a sample of what a type of job qualifications may be for a particular job, in this case, cybersecurity operations analyst. If you're interested in any of the jobs listed here, please reach out to me and Maria at the end of this presentation so we can help guide you through that process. Any questions on this slide or these jobs? We got 3 more of them covering a range of job categories, but I could entertain questions on any career opportunity on this slide if there are some.
Gary, there is a question that came in that may pertain to the jobs listed on our slides. Can you describe some of the key projects that CACI is currently working on?
Yeah, great. So projects for us translate to programs, which translate to contracts. A contract with a customer equals a program, and a program consists of numerous projects. So I'm just going to talk about programs with various customers, and then there's a wide range of projects within each program in order to meet all the tasks associated with that program. But for example, we have a program contract with the United States Army called Integrated Pay and Personnel System for the Army. It is the record pay and personnel system for the Army. And we developed the program, we integrated it, we deployed it with the Army across the Guard, Reserve, and the Active Force over the last 4 or 5 years. And now we're sustaining that system. So for that particular program, we're looking for people that have generally a PeopleSoft, familiar with PeopleSoft as a function. I mean, as a platform, maybe some HR background and that sort of thing. But the program is Integrated Pay and Personnel System for the Army. We have a program with that pertains to space-based laser communications called photonics, and we provide photonic support to NASA and other customers. Practically every space launch from Earth into outer space and deep space has a CACI payload, a photonics payload on those spaceships in order to communicate, again, with laser-based communications from deep space. We have a contract with and a program with various military headquarters and organizations where we provide them signals, intelligence, analytical support, be it computer network exploitation, target digital network analyst, signal intelligence analyst, linguist, all source analyst, open source analyst, human intelligence analyst, counterintelligence analysts and instructors. This is just a broad range of intelligence type of support that we provide a number of customers, all intelligence agencies or military customers. And lastly, I'll just say one other program would be, I think I already mentioned this, but we provide enterprise IT backbone support for a number of customers, one of which is the United States Air Force contract, where contract with the Air Force where we run their enterprise IT system. As name of the contract is called ITAS, Enterprise IT, with the Air Force, and that type of job, that type of contract requires a wide range of information technology experts, again, tech support, system administrators, network operators, cybersecurity analysts, vulnerability analysts, penetration testers, and managers at different levels to lead those efforts, keeping that enterprise IT system up and running 24/7 for a very important customer being the United States Air Force. So there's about 4 or 5 programs I ran through, kind of give you a feel and the nature of the type of work we do in support of our customers, and hopefully that answered the question.
Thanks, Gary. And one other question from Russell Delaney. Would applying to multiple positions with CACI be looked down upon? I have heard from recruiters at other organizations it can be confusing or unprofessional.
Yeah, that's a good question. I recommend you apply to the jobs that you find yourself suitable for. I completed one of these presentations with another group a couple months ago and had one of the attendees apply to 14 jobs within the 24 hours. He didn't qualify for any of them. Every job required a top secret clearance. He only had a secret clearance. He was not qualified for any job. He applied to 14 of them. So in that particular case, which I think is excessive and shows that really lack of attention to detail, yeah, it could have a negative effect. This guy applies to jobs he's not qualified for, doesn't pay attention to the qualifications. I had people apply for a job as technical writer and submit multiple resumes for multiple technical writer jobs. And every one of those resumes had many, many typos, misspellings, poor grammar in them. And we figured, how could you apply to a job as multiple jobs for a technical writer when you can't even write your resume and proofread your resume? So there are downsides to multiple applications, but those are sort of the exceptions. I would say I would apply to jobs that you find yourself suitable for. And then when you're talking to the recruiter, if you get to that level, again, resume and application is the first step. Those get screened. The resume is a ticket to an interview, probably a screening call from a recruiter, and then to further assess your suitability. And then that could lead to an interview with a hiring manager. After the hiring manager, is probably going to interview 3 or 4 different people, and then that's going to weed out folks, and then one of those, or maybe more of those folks, depending on how many job opportunities, will get offers, and then you get to make an accept or decline an offer, and then that leads to hiring. But the at the point of the submitting your application and then the follow-up screening with the recruiter, that's when you can mention to the recruiter, listen, I want you to know I've also applied to this job and this job. I'd like to be considered, and most recruiters, we have an internal HR information system that recruiters can have visibility on that. So it may not be a surprise, but I think it's something worth mentioning to the recruiter, and, and not look down upon it at all, but rather applying to the jobs you find yourself suitable in. And then, it's a personal decision. At the end of the day, you want to take the job that's best for you. It's a personal decision for you and your family. So no, we don't look down on that, and we would encourage it as long as you're applying to jobs that you find yourself suitable for, not just the random type of things that I mentioned earlier for unsuitable folks applying to jobs that are outside of their suitability range. Does that make sense? I don't know who asked that question, so I don't know who I'm asking that.
That was from Russell.
Okay.
Thank you, Russell.
I saw this from Theodore. Would it be best to apply 30 to 60 days out from when you would be available to begin work? That's a good question of when do you start the process? I recommend 6 months out from when you want to work. You start pinpoint the jobs, applying to work. It's going to take at least 90 to 100 days in many cases to through the hiring process. We have to vet your clearance. You have a round of interviews. You got to produce offer letters and all these things. It takes 90 to 100 days. So if you're applying 30 to 60 days out, that's probably too short. I would say it's 6 months. Start looking, pinpointing where you want to work, the type of jobs you're interested in, and then applying to those jobs probably 90 to 100 days out is my recommended timeline there for Theodore and everyone else with that question. There's one last one we'll touch on here. Not sure who asked this, but I have 6 years of nonprofit leadership experience, a decade of training, master's in management, emphasis in organization development. I'd love to know more about training roles and change management roles. Perfect cue to one of our next slides. We're going to cover some training roles here and some management roles. So hold on, and we'll get there. Let's go to the next slide. Outside of IT and cybersecurity, we're going to move to software development. Not sure where everybody is in the class in terms of software engineering and development, but we got a range of jobs here that may interest you in multiple locations, starting with some of the entry-level work at the top. Junior software engineer, no clearance. Junior web developer, no clearance, both in Denver. Then we get into a test engineer role. And then now we're into some mid-level jobs as a software engineer. Still got a junior job there in software Java development. Another software engineer role in Charlottesville is listed as hybrid. Hybrid is the word we use to describe a job that is a combination of telework and live work in an office. As you can imagine, a majority of our work, because of the nature of the work with customers, is done on site, so live. But we do have a lot of opportunities and jobs that are hybrid. I work about half the time from home and half the time from our corporate headquarters, so my job is hybrid, and many others like that. And then we do have a number of roles, as you can see on this slide, that are remote, fully remote, like the one above that, junior Java software developer, that's remote. And the last job listed here, software developer, is remote. That last job, I'd like to get into that here in a second, just to describe again the qualifications, using this as an example of the type of qualifications required for this particular job. Software developer 299676 at the bottom of this slide. That is in support of our customer, NASA customer, and their application platform services. So that's a program with multiple projects in support of NASA. That job requires a bachelor's degree, 4 years of experience, and that experience should include experience with Oracle, SQL, scripting with JavaScript, Bash, Perl, or Python. And then lastly, knowledge of SharePoint, Oracle, MongoDB, SQL, Sybase, or similar systems. I'm not familiar with a lot of these systems, but I just took these qualifications from this job description as an example of the type of qualifications you got to look at and you have to meet in determining and assessing your individual suitability for a job. In this case, it's a public trust clearance. Any U.S. citizen can be eligible to gain a public trust clearance. That's one of those clearances at sort of entry level. If you get hired for this job, you're going to be put in for a public trust clearance, and that's a good way to get your foot in the door with a clearance, because then you can build on that clearance as you go in the company, maybe moving on to other jobs and so forth. So to answer the question earlier, how do you get a clearance? Well, you can start with at the public trust level in a job like this that could get you that first level clearance, and then you can move on from there in subsequent years and subsequent roles. Let's move on to the next chart, please. In another job category, now on the Intel side, as you can imagine, all the jobs in Intel require some level of clearance. In this case, the ones we have here that we're hiring for now, examples of jobs we're hiring for now, all require at the top secret SCI level and above. Analytical jobs in a range of Intel disciplines. You can see from top to bottom, I'm not going to go through all of them, in a variety of locations across the U.S. We also have business, a lot of business in Stuttgart, Germany, supporting customers at the headquarters European Command, headquarters Africa Command. We have a lot of business in Asia, in Korea, and some other countries there. Those are pretty much our main overseas locations in terms of large business footprints. But here at the bottom, I wanted to go through the qualifications again for the job described as Digital Network Exploitation Analyst, job number 300979. That requires a TSSCI with a counterintelligence poly-level clearance. It's a very high-level clearance in support of U.S. Army Special Operations Command. The customer in this case defines the level of clearance required for the job. Requires a bachelor's degree plus 3 years of experience, or no degree and 6 years of experience. A lot of our jobs have that option, degree plus some number, or no degree and plus a greater number. And we ask our customers this, knowing that many of our military and veterans coming out of the service didn't have the opportunity to get a degree. Maybe they didn't have the time available between deployments and so forth to take coursework at the University of Arizona Global Campus and other similar institutions. So we always try and get a qualification there where an academic degree is not required. It's not always the case, so you got to read the job qualifications. But in this particular case, we do have an experiential qualification in lieu of the bachelor's degree piece. And then lastly, it says nice to have or desired to have some qualifications and certifications here. In this case, for a DNEA job, Certified Ethical Hackers certification, and also certification with the cellular collection piece there. So that's our jobs in Intel analysis. And with that, let's go to the last job field. This is pretty much everything else. Again, just a small sampling of the type of jobs we have in support services, ranging from Scrum Master at the top with the remote opportunity, finance job in Dayton, Ohio at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Then some training roles here. I know the question came in of what can I do to support training roles. Here's two of them, both without clearances. One's remote, one's in Chesapeake, Virginia. Your level of experience may exceed the requirements in these particular ones, but I would continue your search with in the job field of training development, training administration, training specialist, whatever, and try and find jobs that might line up with your levels of experience. A lot of other management roles too. I know the question was about what can I do to work in the area of organizational development and change management. Hell, as a contractor, we're always in some phase of change management. And so I think that is part and parcel with almost a lot of different jobs we have in the company. But I would really, for that questioner, I think it's AB, Ali, and I can't see your last name, I'm sorry, but AB, I would say, job search would, I'd start out with project management and look and see if your management experience and education lines up with the project management opportunities that we have on our career search site, careers.caci.com. And lastly, at the bottom of this slide, we're looking at a logistics data analyst in Norfolk, Virginia, 301508. This supports the United States Navy Fleet Forces Command, another customer on a different program. And for this particular job, requires a bachelor's degree or 8 years of Navy logistics experience. So you have the experience in lieu of a degree, if that's the case. And then with some in-depth experience required in NALCOMAS and our supply systems. Those are logistics-based, automated logistics bases that support Navy logistics. So you're going to have to basically be a Navy supply specialist to qualify for this type of job. And that's all spelled out in the respective job description. With that, those are all the job opportunities we brought. But again, only a small sampling of the type of work we do and the type of talent that we're looking for. Hopefully these jobs whet your interest, whet your appetite, pique your interest, and will take you to our career site, careers.caci.com, where you will find jobs for you. So here's our contact information. We call ourselves the Veteran Hiring Team, but like I said earlier, we would love to hear from all of you on the call, all 51 of you, if you're interested in CACI. And I'd ask you to reach out to one of us listed here in terms of our team information, and we can vector you in the right direction. But we will be your inside source, your champion here at CACI. Again, we're 39% of our workforce are veterans or military, but the rest of our workforce are not. So we want to hear from you. If you find yourself qualified in any of the types of jobs you find on our career site, we would love to hear from you, and we would love to help take you through the hiring process and bring you into the ranks of CACI. And with that, I don't know if we have any other additional questions, Werner. I know we're coming right in on the landing on the aircraft carrier here at the 1 hour mark.
Yes, sir.
But, maybe time for any other comments or questions, and we'd be happy to entertain.
And we absolutely appreciate this amazing presentation, and thank you, Gary and Maria, for answering the questions along the way. That made a lot very easier for our students. But I'm going to go ahead and close it up now, and just let you know that if you want to contact or connect with CACI and other organizations that are actively hiring, please log into Handshake through our student portal, your student portal, excuse me. And we recommend checking Handshake, UAGC Connect, and your email regularly for career service events. Just a reminder, our fall 2024 virtual career fair will be occurring in Handshake on October the 16th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Pacific time. This is a great opportunity to meet amazing employers, much like CACI here, of course, and network with recruiters. We recommend registering as soon as possible for this free event. To ensure you have employer group and individual sessions available. And a reminder, you will receive a follow-up email with a link to this recording and information about careers at CACI. If you have any questions for the career services team, on your resume, cover letter, or job search, please email careerservices@uagc.edu or log in to Handshake through your student portal to explore more resources. Please take 1 minute to hang on. At the close of this information session, you'll be directed to complete a quick confidential survey. Your responses will guide us in planning future employer information sessions, career fairs, and events. If you're unable to complete it now, the survey will be emailed to you with a copy of the recording. Many thanks again to Gary and Maria at CACI for joining us today. And many thanks to you, our students and graduates, for attending UAGC. Thank you for attending this event today, and we look forward to seeing you at more career services hosted events. Everyone have a great day. Take care.